Hello everyone and welcome to another GTA discussion video. It seems like I've been doing a lot of these lately, but I guess there's been a lot to talk about. And in this video I want to just go over my thoughts of the heist update in general. So I'm going to talk about, heists as they are, whether I enjoyed them, but I'm also going to talk about the cars that we've got from the heist update and their performance as well. So I'll just jump straight into it and talk about heists in general first of all. And I have to say, I really enjoyed them, I probably could have enjoyed them a little bit more if I didn't have to rush through them to get the testing done. It was, on the day that the heist came out, I did the first heist twice, actually, to help somebody else do it. But then because of the connection issues, on that Tuesday, I couldn't get the second one done or anything beyond that. So on the Wednesday, I actually, got up early and did the second, third, fourth and fifth heist all on that Wednesday, all on the same day. So, just powered through them all. And I had to do that really to be able to get all of the unlocked vehicles, unlock all the vehicles so that I could then test them on the Thursday and bring the video to you guys on the Friday. So it was quite hectic, everything got pushed back. The multi-class endurance race I'm going to try and get done for next Friday before the next round on the Sunday. Well, yeah, by the time you see this, it will be the next Friday will be the multi-class endurance video, hopefully. But I've also got real life racing videos to do. I've got a lot of videos. The problem is that those multi-class videos and the real life racing videos, they take so much editing. I'm pretty much editing and making those videos throughout the entire week. So, with the heists coming, that's kind of just taken all of my attention off that, and I haven't been able to do those. So I will be bringing those as quickly as I can. It's just, it's been difficult having to focus on heists. But yeah, I had to get that done because I needed to unlock all of the vehicles and I needed to test them so I could bring the best fully upgraded cars video to you guys. And I didn't really get as much of an enjoyment through doing the heists as I probably could have because of that. I had to rush through them. It didn't really feel like I was fully involved in the story for any of them, apart from maybe the first one. I'm the kind of person that likes to watch all of the cutscenes without any interruptions, listen to all of the dialogue on all of the missions, read everything about the mission, feel like I'm totally involved in the story that the game is trying to present me. And I didn't really get a chance to do that because I had to rush through it all. So, I'll probably be doing heists again. I might go for that $10 million challenge, see if I can do that, but that seems very, very difficult. But I would at least like to play through them all again, just to get the storyline behind them and kind of get the proper feel that was intended from the game from the outset. So yeah, that was my only feeling about that, but in general I really enjoyed the missions. There were all of the setups and then you had to do the main heist. Some of them were a little bit frustrating, but I don't think any of them were overly difficult, I would say. But yeah, I really enjoyed them, and it really did actually help my bank balance by the end of it and gave me the money that I needed to actually test all of the vehicles for the video, so that was handy. And I would say that one of the better things to come from the heist update isn't something so obvious. It seems like there's been a lot of small changes that came with this update that really enhanced the experience. I mentioned one of them in the first heists video that I did last week, that the screen at the end of a race, like the lobby screen, just displays races now, and then you can choose to go to a different game mode, which I suggested well over a year and a half ago now. That has finally been implemented, and I think that's a much better system to do way to do it. But there's also been lots of little improvements everywhere else, like the way that you enter the garages and your apartments, they seem a lot better. The lighting just seems a little bit better, and the graphics, I don't know what it is, there's just a little something that it feels like the game is more of a next-gen experience than what it was when it first came out. It feels like everything's just been improved a tiny amount, and when it all comes together it really does have a bit of a different sort of a profound difference. And I think one of the main ones that I noticed initially was the traffic in free roam. On GTA Online, the traffic in free roam wasn't very good. You saw the same cars all the time, and there wasn't much variety. Once you'd seen one car, you were going to see 10 more of the same car. You know, you didn't get much variety, you didn't see many trucks or buses or anything like that. Whereas now, it's a lot different. You see buses, you see trucks, you see utility vehicles, you see guys on bikes, you see people in lots of different cars that you don't normally see, or you never used to see, let's say, and you don't see sort of the same car 10 times. You might see it once or twice, but then you see 15 other different cars all at the same time. So just little things like that are just making the whole GTA Online experience a little bit better for me. And that was one of the things that I noticed really early as soon as I loaded up the game after downloading it. That was one of the things that I noticed straight away, and it definitely makes a big difference to how the world of GTA Online feels in terms of how immersive it is. So yeah, it's been a good update so far. You know, we have unlocked a lot of different things. There's a lot of, you know, masks and outfits and all that kind of stuff as well. The flare gun's a good addition. I think everything that we've seen that's been added has been really good, really fun, and that goes for the vehicles as well. So a lot of vehicles obviously were Pegasus vehicles. You know, you've got the Hydra and the two helicopters, all of the big armored trucks with guns on, things like that. A lot of those are obviously Pegasus vehicles, and they just bring a different side to GTA. You know, they're a lot of fun to use. They feel like sort of Battlefield mixed with GTA, if you like. You know, that's the impression I get from them, and it's just something a little bit different, which I quite like to see. So that's one good thing. You know, they are quite expensive, which I think is another good thing. They shouldn't be, you know, just for anybody to get. You should have to work at it to get them. But yeah, the vehicles that we've had that you can't actually, that I haven't covered in a racing video, seem to be really fun, really interesting, and yeah, all of the things that we've had added to the game have been really great in my opinion. Now we come on to the vehicles that I've tested. So we had basically 10 vehicles in that video, 2 bikes and 8, let's say, 4-wheeled vehicles, because they're not all cars technically. But yeah, I'm gonna start with probably the Enduro. The Enduro basically epitomizes everything that's wrong with the class system in GTA Online. So the Enduro was, you know, it was added, and everybody was wondering how it would do against the Sanchez. Turns out it's absolutely terrible compared to the Sanchez. You know, 3 seconds per lap slower. It's not even on the pace of the majority of the bikes. It's the 3rd worst bike in the entire game. But the Enduro is on the pace of the Bifter. So, you know, we've always had this problem with the off-road class that the Sanchez is overpowered. You know, the Sanchez is just so much faster than everything else in the off-road class that off-road racers are kind of ruined by the Sanchez. So we finally get a bike that really, the Enduro is what the Sanchez should have been. That's the kind of pace that the Sanchez should have. It should be getting that 1:09 to put it on the same level as the Bifter. So, you know, we've got this off-road class, and we finally got a bike in the Enduro that is balanced with the rest of the off-road vehicles, but we can't use the Enduro in off-road races. So it's this duality of the whole thing. It's like you can use the Sanchez, which is completely overpowered, but you can't use the Enduro, which is balanced. Well, if you're going to allow us to use the Sanchez, allow us to use the Enduro. But if you're not going to allow us to use the Enduro, remove the Sanchez from off-road races. We'd all be happy with that. We'd all love to get rid of the Sanchez in off-road races. But, you know, that's the problem with the whole class system of GTA. They just don't understand the way that it should be. For example, putting the Blister Compact in the Sport class. That's just ridiculous, you know. Things like that just kind of taint the experience a little bit and don't make it as good as it could be. For me, I would have loved to have seen the Enduro be in the off-road class and the Sanchez maybe, you know, nerfed a little bit, or just remove both of them entirely from the off-road class, keep the off-roads to cars, and have a separate, you know, you can make races just for the Sanchez and the Enduro. But the problem is that then the bikes aren't balanced either. You know, the Enduro is way off the pace of the Sanchez. There's pretty much no point to the Enduro whatsoever. It's the same with the Blister Compact. There was pretty much no point in adding that. at all, because it just has no purpose whatsoever in a racing situation anyway. So yeah, the Enduro was a bit of a disappointment. The Electro, I can see why people would like the Electro. You know, it's a bit of a novelty with the KERS power boost. You know, kinetic energy recovery system directly taken from F1. When you under braking, you get some of that energy back to use as a boost. It fills up your bar and you can use it as a boost. Now you can't use that in a race, which I think is probably a good thing. Having said that, even if you could use that in a race, it still wouldn't be quicker than the Bati or the Akuma. You know, it might be third or fourth at best in the bikes class. So really that doesn't matter to me too much. You know, I'm not really that bothered. But you know, it's a novelty. 750,000 is way overpriced for that bike, but people are going to have it just because it's got this special KERS boost, and I guess it can be useful in free roam, but I imagine that the Akuma would still beat it for acceleration in most instances. So, you know, again with the Electro, it's kind of just a nothing bike. You know, it's got a bit of novelty to it, but beyond that, there's not really a lot to it. The Mule, I'm glad that we can finally race the Mule. That's an interesting one. Obviously, it's not competitive with all of the bikes, but with all of the other vans, sorry. But it is, you know, on the pace of some of the slower vans, so, you know, more variety there. It would be good to actually have all of those slower set of vans in one class that we could race with, but never mind. And then the Rumpo, you know, we've got the Rumpo that now is able to be stored and have upgrades. And the Rumpo is kind of an idea of my frustrations with the whole thing with GTA. You know, I wish that we could access more vehicles. I wish we could store more vehicles, upgrade and race more vehicles. There's no reason why we couldn't have stored and upgraded the Rumpo before this update. And the same goes, you know, for the new Slam van. We can't access that. There's a few other new vehicles. You know, all of the police and emergency vehicles we can't race with or we can't store. Just little things like that. Variety is the spice of life to me. You know, I think that the more vehicles that we are able to use in GTA, it just makes the game a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. So it's good to see that, you know, these vehicles are being released slowly with each update. We always kind of get like one vehicle that we couldn't have before, like the Rumpo, for example. But I just wish that we could just have them all, really, and just, you know, do what we want with them. What was next? The Guardian. I think the Guardian was next. That was a good one. I quite liked it. I didn't mind the Guardian. It felt like the Sand King. It felt like a 6-person version of the Sand King. Obviously, the Guardian can fit 6 people. That's kind of what it felt like to me. You know, very big, a cool vehicle. I didn't end up keeping one myself, but I could definitely appreciate that, and it was reasonably fast as well. But the big one for me, the best one out of this whole update, was the Gang Burrito. I mean, that car, that vehicle is amazing. For so long we'd been frustrated by the Bison being the quickest van, and you know, it really did, you know, it wasn't a van technically, and it dominated everything else. You know, they were reasonably close together behind the Bison, but if you had a Bison you were going to win, but it wasn't really fun to drive either. It was a bit crap, really. So it's great now to finally have the Gang Burrito available. You know, it's much quicker than the Bison. Yes, that means that it's even further removed from all of the other vans. But if it's a choice between either everybody having a Bison or everybody having a Gang Burrito, I'd much rather everybody raced in a Gang Burrito, because it's just much more fun to drive and it feels like a proper van race when you are using them. So custom van races are now, I'm going to start hosting custom van races now. Before I used to just turn customs off just because I didn't like using the Bison or anything like that. But yeah, it's great that we finally got a new fastest van, and that's another original vehicle that was kind of knocked off its perch. You know, there's only a few left now in the classes that are actually originals without being introduced in DLCs that are the fastest. For example, the Elegy, the Shafter, the Z-Type. You know, that list is getting smaller, so it's good to have an update with a better van, and the Gang Burrito is just a cool vehicle in general. The Insurgent was next. The Insurgent was a great vehicle as well. You know, it's so strong. Same with the Armored Kuruma. I'll put these both together. You know, they are more designed for free roam. You know, the armor on them is ridiculously strong. They aren't impregnable, of course, but they're just a lot of fun to have in free roam. But they are also reasonably quick each, you know, of themselves as well. For example, the Kuruma, it isn't the worst sports car. It's pretty far removed from the worst sports car, really. And the Intruder is the Insurgent. Sorry, I don't know why I said Intruder. The Insurgent is one of the better off-road vehicles, and it became our best 6-person vehicle as well. You know, it's quite quick for such a big bulky vehicle like that, and beating obviously the Dubster 6x6 as well as being the fastest 6-seater vehicle. So it's great to see these new vehicles come in and give us more options in different areas. You know, for a long time, really it was only between the Dubster 6x6 and the Bison for a 6-seater vehicle if you wanted one. Now we've got the Guardian and the Insurgents as well. Yeah, and you know, the armored Kuruma is just a bit of fun. It goes with those sort of Pegasus vehicles. I would say that they're just a bit of fun to have and use just in free roam, you know, not really concentrating on races. Next up is the Casco. So the Casco for me was a bit of a disappointment. I quite liked the styling of the front of the car. You know, I thought it was pretty decent, but the rear of the car wasn't that great, and the way that it drove, the way that it reacted to bumps was just awful. It really was. Even with off-road tires on, you know, it just could not handle the bumps at all, and you did have to be very careful with it. It's still a quick vehicle, you know. It's the 3rd best sport classic, so that's, you know, really quick. I would say that it's kind of like the Blade. You know, the Sports Classics class is very much like the Muscle class now. You've got the Z-Type equating to the Dominator with a really high top speed. You've got the Dukes, which is good around corners, being equal to sort of the Pagani in Sports Classics. And then you've got the Blade, which has very good acceleration, kind of being the same as the Casco in Sports Classics. You know, the Casco has really great acceleration. It is reasonably steady around the corners as long as you don't hit too many bumps. But overall, it just lacks a little bit of that top end speed that it really needs to get the job done. But the Sports Classics class is reasonably well balanced at the top. I would say with, you know, the top 3 as well as the Coquette Classic and possibly the Monroe, they could all be used to have a good race. But ultimately, we've still got the Z-Type on top. So obviously, we'll finish up with the final one, which is the Kuruma. The Kuruma was really good. You know, off-road, it is amazing. It is absolutely incredible. It can outdrag a Masacro off-road. It's pretty much on the pace, like I said in the original video, of the Entity and the Zentorno. It would easily beat those rear-wheel drive supercars off-road as well, such as the Turismo. You take that off-road, the Kuruma would absolutely destroy it. It's because obviously it's got all-wheel drive. It's got a very powerful engine. You know, the driving force of the Kuruma is very high, and it's also got a really good distribution between the front wheels, and the power that goes to the front wheels and the power that goes to the rear wheels. It's actually split 1/3 power going to the fronts and 2/3 power going to the rear, and no other car in the game has that kind of distribution. So it's you know, it's a brand new car, and it's really good off-road. And again, it's another example of that being us getting sort of a vehicle that has a different purpose. You know, we've had the Insurgent, that is the best six-seater vehicle. We've had a new van, which is something that we don't normally get. And you know, we've also got the Kuruma, which, although it's nowhere really in sports car races under normal circumstances, if you take it off road, it really does shine. And that's what I like about GTA. You know, you've got all these different vehicles, all this different variety of cars that are all better at all their own little different things. And I expect that the Kuruma would be good in the rain as well. And someone actually from the crew, Crazy Man, tested it and found that the off-road, the Kuruma is on the same pace as the Sanchez. So if we could actually use the Kuruma in off-road races, it would be pretty incredible. And if anyone from Rockstar is listening to this, you know, let us use the Kuruma in off-road races. That would be amazing. We'd actually finally have a proper competitor to the Sanchez in off-road races. So yeah, we've had a lot of variety with this one. This video has obviously been very long. You know, I just wanted to put up my thoughts out there. These discussion videos really are turning into a bit too much of a rambling video than I'd like. I think I need to start bringing the time down a little bit and reeling myself in. But sometimes, you know, I just like to sit in front of a microphone and just talk to you guys about my my thoughts about something, and that's kind of what I've done today with Heists. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts, you know, not just about the cars themselves, because I asked that in the previous video, but about all the different vehicles that we've got, you know, all of the stuff that we got from the Heist update, the small little improvements, you know, everything that I've talked about in this video. I want to hear your guys' thoughts, you know, has it been worth the wait? Has Heists been worth the wait? And I'm not just talking about the heists themselves, I'm talking about the whole update in general, all the vehicles, all the outfits, all that kind of stuff. Has it been worth the wait? And what's your favourite part about the Heists update? Let me know down below. I'd be really interested to see your opinions. So thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I really do appreciate it. These videos will start to get a bit shorter, I promise, in future. And hopefully we'll have the multi-class endurance video up very soon. So thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.